ואיווה, sorry, Granita. She's in Vilnius now, I think. And she is a writer, a playwright, and a poet. She was the author of the opera performance Sun and Sea, which was represented Lithuania at the Biennale in Venezia and won the Golden Lion for Best National Participation last year in 2019. So welcome, Vaeva. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be part of this conference. And I believe that there is no such thing as stiff and undeniable truth. So this monologue will be just an act of sharing and trying to describe my experience as an author and to give the voice for some fragmented thoughts, flocks of jellyfish floating in my head. When something is happening around me, I would observe things from a distance rather than take part in it. I would follow media, listen to discussions, do some research here and there, would sneak into context I do not belong to, employ my curiosity, let alone power of mimicry. When I'm familiar with a problem, I would use the archives of my subconsciousness. It's a messy attic with numerous corners, memories, important or irrelevant stuff, rooms stuffed with the fragments of stories people have ever shared with me. And people are keen on talking rather than listening. So usually I'm the lucky one and end up with a good prey. Okay, so when I have these two ingredients, I would create a hybrid from what is real in collective sense and make it more personal, presented from I perspective. That is to say, having macro, I would zoom in and focus on micro. And the final product is somewhat of yogurt, the substance made from raw material, reality, but with a of bacteria of poetry and imagination converted into product of fiction. And if we talk about yogurt, which stands here as a metaphor, we visualize real dairy products, and somehow it leads to the topic of veganism, which is directly linked with the topic of environmentalism. When I see pictures of sea mammals or birds chalked on cellophane, I get depressed for a minute or two and start thinking of changing my lifestyle. Normally, I try to follow my daily hygiene and be aware of my actions, like recycling, buying secondhand clothes, eating locally farmed food, although it's a bit tricky to skip flying. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I bought new shoes. And I have to confess, I did feel dopamine circulating in my brain. I was excited and out of a sudden amnesiac. Instead of thinking about the resources of power of slavery was used to produce these shoes. I went to the artist talk. It was me, the artist, and two other artists, Lina Lapelytė and Rugilė Barzdžiukaitė, attending the talk. We presented opera performance Sun and Sea we made. We talked about angle from above, which allows observing holiday goers as if they were bugs or other species. That songs vacationers sing on the beach refer to climate change and ecology. That they are subtle, and not didactic, sometimes ironic or even humorous, and that the melodies remind of a pop song. And while talking about our experience in Venice Biennale, we mentioned 3 tons of sand was shipped from Lithuania to Venice because it was cheaper. Not to mention Italian grains of sand didn't look good enough, color and structure-wise. The talk was happening in Germany, where we flew with a gang of 27 people to sing about the end of the world and consumption. And I knew I will get paid for the performance, so I bought new shoes to look good on stage at the artist talk.
Vaeva, we can't see the video, it's stuck.
Oh no. Why?
My voice ate in a hole.
Oh, that's strange.
And
And I'm
she
sitting
has
here.
been swimming in the black, the yellow, the white, the red,
Watch
the
later.
Mediterranean, Aegean Sea.
We will try again.
Uh-huh. And now? Is it working?
Yes, it's okay.
My voice ate in a hole. And she has been swimming in the black, the yellow, the white, the red, the Mediterranean, Aegean seas. She has already visited 2 of the world's great oceans, and we will visit the remaining ones this year. 2 weeks ago, my husband took me diving in Australia. 2 photographers swam after us, included in the prize. Our little ones stayed offshore together with our nanny. We explored the coral forests, we climbed through the branches. It certainly tired us. Such density. What a relief that the Great Barrier Reef has a restaurant and hotel. We sat down to sip our piña coladas included in the price. They taste better under the water. Simply the paradise.
I'm not sure if you saw the video, but this fictional character of well-to-do lady in her song is listing the pleasures she has performed with her baby boy. She sips planet Earth as it was some pina colada, and she's ignorant about everything else except her well-being. We are frightened of not having water or our property going on fire, our kids not being able to see exotic animals, lush landscapes, not experiencing paradise. But, for example, crickets, kids, little pumas, chimpanzees, orphan owl, or shrimp having their paradise lost. Paradoxically, the logic of green activism is quite often derives from putting human and his needs in the center of attention. That is to say, is based on care about planet mostly for egoistic reasons. So potentially this lady from the beach could quickly convert to environmentalist. But okay, let's get back to that image of dead bird chalked on plastic, which I haven't show you, but mentioned before. When the third minute, my brain wants to escape this horrific picture. Just block, ban it, forget, and get back to its daily pleasures. Nonetheless, animal is too anonymous, and its death, presented in tragic way, works as an act of microcosmic threatening. And then someone is continuously threatened, one becomes ignorant. And I'm just thinking, if the topic of pollution could be reduced and transmitted by the catchy song, let's say about jellyfish dancing in pairs with bags and sea being gorgeously colorful, let's call it chanson of admiration. The paradox of naive melancholic melody combined with ironic text signaling indifference and contamination somehow, I believe, might reach out the recipient in more effective way than direct picture of exposing the large-scale catastrophe. So now I will play that song.
Rose-colored dresses flutter, jellyfish dance along in pairs with emerald-colored bags, bottles, and red bottle cap. Rose-colored dresses flutter, jellyfish dance along in pairs with emerald-colored bags, bottles, and red bottle caps. Oh, the sea never had so much color. The sea never had. The sea never had so much color.
Lyrics of this song are based on the research I did while writing the libretto of Sun and Sea. Few years ago, I watched a documentary about jellyfish. It said fish get extinct, only jellyfish will remain, as they enjoy ocean's temperature rising, and that jellyfish are best adapted creatures to survive drastic changes. But now I will tell you the real truth. While writing this monologue, I procrastinated a lot, and I had some doubts either it was a good idea to agree to do this talk, and if my words make sense. As talking too much is also some kind of pollution and unnecessary choreography of words. And I'll be polluting twice, as the fee I'm getting for this Zoom talk will cover 1/3 of my plane ticket to Canada. And also I lied about these new shoes. It's made up. This detail was used up just to build the narrative for the talk. And I lied because this monologue is based on my thoughts of process of writing as fermentation, turning milk into yogurt. Thank you.